Plagiarism is an important concept in both your nursing education and in your profession as a nurse. It can have consequences, very serious consequences, in both settings. So the first thing that we ought to do is define what plagiarism is. Plagiarism is considered fraud. Basically, you're stealing someone else's work and lying about it afterward, or passing off the ideas or words of someone else as your own, using someone else's work without giving the original author the credit for that idea or work, or presenting an existing idea as something that you originally came up with. This can happen intentionally or unintentionally, and the difference is between the types of citations that you provide in your document or in the project that you're working on. The big deal about plagiarism is that it risks your credibility and your reputation. If you've been caught plagiarizing, chances are you're going to be associated with cheating or lying. You also learn nothing from copying someone else's work. If you're simply copying and pasting something into your own document or own project, then you're not really applying that information to your concept or to your idea. You also lose out on the chance to share your own ideas. If you're copying and pasting or plagiarizing someone else's work, you're not given the opportunity to share what you really think about that concept or idea. The other important thing, especially while you're in the nursing program, is that you're risking what you've worked so hard to achieve. In the IPFW nursing department, the policy on plagiarism is that any student who's been found to plagiarize has been committed academic dishonesty and misconduct, which may lead to dismissal from the program or college. The other thing is, regardless of whether this was intentional or unintentional, you will automatically get a 0 for the assignment that you've plagiarized on. There are lots of real-life examples about people who've plagiarized and the consequences for that plagiarism. Jason Blair worked for the New York Times and was found to have made up many quotes in his works, and he was later resigning because of these made-up quotes. And that's an important point that we should make, is that plagiarism isn't just cutting and pasting or not providing the quotation marks properly. It's also when you change the original message to fit into your document. If you have an idea or an opinion about a certain topic and you use sources to back that up, but you have to tweak those messages from the original sources, that's considered plagiarism because you're changing the original message of the original author. This college student was expelled from a semester at sea because she incorrectly paraphrased. There's a writer down here who plagiarized several different other books, and she has earned herself a reputation for being a plagiarizer or a cheater. There's also an example of a nursing doctoral candidate who plagiarized some of her dissertation, and after they found out that she did this, her doctoral degree was retracted, and she probably won't be accepted into another doctoral program to achieve that doctoral degree. And that was after all those years of hard work. It's just not worth it. So the best way to avoid plagiarizing is just, when in doubt, cite, and cite correctly. Use your APA manual to figure out how to properly cite what you're including in your document. Remember that there's a difference between citation and reference. The reference goes at the end of your document on the reference page, and that's the complete reference information with the author, the date, the title of the work, the journal or source that you got that information from. The citation is an abbreviated form of that you include directly into your text. If you include a passage from a work, then you put in parentheses the citation that includes the author and the year, and if you're quoting, it includes the page number. There are some simple things to help you remember when to cite and when you don't have to cite, because it can be challenging. First of all, ask yourself, did I come up with this idea, or is this sentence mine and mine alone? If that's the case, then you don't have to cite. If something you're including is common knowledge, then you don't have to cite that either. Remember that common knowledge is something that we expect everyone in the general population to know. So if you are writing about a nursing topic that you expect many nurses to know about, but you wouldn't expect the general population to know, then you should still cite that. And if you didn't come up with the original sentence or idea or concept, then you need to cite that as well. So there's not just the matter of citation. There's the matter of citing correctly. And that's the difference between paraphrasing and quoting. When you paraphrase, you restate someone else's words or ideas in your own words. And correctly paraphrasing requires you to completely rewrite the original sentence or sentences. If you just change a few key words from the original sentence, that's incorrectly paraphrasing, and that's considered plagiarism. You can retain a few key words from the original concept if those words are important to the explanation of the concept, but you still have to change the rest of the sentence to describe it in your own words. Quoting is using the exact words from original source. Correctly quoting requires you to put quotation marks around the words or sentence or paragraph that you are taking from the original source. If you don't use quotation marks around the quoted material, even if you provide a citation, it's still considered plagiarism because you're taking credit for that original work and not giving credit to the original author. Now, a word about quoting. Generally, it's inappropriate to directly quote someone else's work because for most things, you can restate it in your own words. The only time to use a quote is when the author said it best and there's really no other way to describe it. So let's take a brief quiz about plagiarism. Think about this question and the answers, and then we'll display the actual answer. Which of these is plagiarism? The answer is E, all of the above. Incorrectly paraphrasing is considered plagiarism. If you don't change the original sentence to reflect your own words, then you have plagiarized. If you cut and paste something without giving the citation for the original source, you have also plagiarized. Fabricating citations means that you've made up a citation or you've tweaked the original idea to fit in with whatever you're writing about. And passing off another ideas as your own is the essence of plagiarism. What is common knowledge? The answer is B. Common knowledge is generally well-known facts that are available from numerous sources. These are things that we expect generally everyone in the population to know. It isn't just information that you can find on the internet or information published in Wikipedia or newspaper articles. All of those things require a reference and citation. Which of these statements do you believe is common knowledge? The answer is C. We expect generally everyone in the United States to know that George Washington was the first president of the United States. This information is available from many, many sources, and it's widespread information that we start learning from grade school. The fact that Abraham Lincoln was assassinated 5 days after the Civil War, or where Thomas Jefferson went to school, or how many children Dwight D. Eisenhower had, those are all things that we would expect people to have to look up. So, you wouldn't have to provide a citation for George Washington was the first president of the U.S., but you would have to provide a citation and reference for the other three. Pasting an image from the internet into your paper without citing the original source is plagiarism. The answer is true. Even images can be plagiarized. Anything that you take from another source and put into your document requires a citation and a reference. Remember to consult your APA manual for help with citing and references. Also, ask your instructor if you don't understand something in the APA manual or you can't find something in the APA manual. Purdue OWL is another good resource. That's Purdue OWL. If you Google that, you'll find the link to get to the page, and then just look for the APA reference and citation manual. If you need more resources, make sure to talk to your instructor, and always remember that it's okay to have someone review your paper for proper APA style before you actually submit it.